So lockdown is starting to ease at different rates in different places across the globe, but people are having to adjust to another new way of working. So how as managers are you helping them to deal with this? And I think there are 5 things to think about, and the first 2 are about their fears. Their fears of the future and what that might now hold, but also their fears of other people and what that might now bring them. Thirdly, there's stuff around communication and how we get beyond and around the new obstacles that are now in our place. The fourth thing I would say is about helping people to feel safe, not just in a physical sense in being shielded, but actually in a psychological sense in being able to express themselves. And the fifth thing is around using the skill sets that you have strategically as you plan for a new way of working and maybe even a new business. None of these are particularly new. They are all important to think about for any team at any stage, but their importance is heightened now maybe. So these are things to think about that I will discuss further as we go. How are you helping your people to deal with their fears of the future? This is a thing that's been common down through the ages, that people are scared of what they don't know, and we've all suddenly realised that there's even more that we don't know. And so yeah, our fears of the VUCA world is something we need to deal with, and it's not about suggesting that everything will be fine and glossing over it. People are not stupid, but it's about explaining the realities of where we're at, and maybe naming the specific challenges, but showing that there are solutions, talking about controlling the things that are within our sphere of influence. And so it's about being realistic, but it's also about looking back and saying, look where we've come from. 6 months ago, we hadn't had to deal with any of this stuff that's been brought on by the pandemic, but we've done it. We are able to react and to change and to find new ways of doing stuff. We can cope. We are resilient. And so we can be in the future. Ultimately, life will continue to change and bad things will happen, but we can deal with them. How are you helping people to deal with their fears of other people? People are scared about the virus. Yeah, that's not unusual. People are scared of other people who might transmit the virus to them, and that's still reasonably common. But how they live out those fears could be very unique to them and possibly quite irrational, and they might just lash out verbally or physically. So we need to help them to recognise that we're all in it together, and that the team is coming together to deal with what we're all in, and that the team members are coming with the best of intentions. Assumed positive intent is something that I talk about a lot, that people are coming with the right idea, or the right attitude, should I say, and if things don't work out perfectly, it's not that they are bad people or that they're out to get you. It just went a bit wrong, and particularly now, mistakes will be made because things are new. So long as people are following the statutory guidelines and keeping themselves safe at the basic level, then what they do over and above that will be unique to them. It doesn't make them wrong or bad if they're not doing what you're doing. We need to build understanding of each other within our teams, and you can facilitate that on a daily basis by helping people to better get to know each other. But you might want to have a specific session where we spend time actually learning about each other and what makes us tick, so we can understand and work alongside each other better. How are you communicating across the barriers? We're in situations now where more and more barriers are being put in the way of us communicating with folks. There are perspex screens, there are visors, there are masks, there's the distance between people, there's people actually working from home or not being in the office at the same time. And we need to be able to get beyond that to communicate. And typically we just shout louder so that we get heard. But it's not that the other person is deaf, it's that we're not getting our message through. And shouting is a short-term solution that loses us friends anyway. So maybe we might revert back to emails and texts and things being written. but we know that that might get some facts across. But without the body language and the tone of voice, then people will assume things that maybe were never there. So ultimately it comes down to building some understanding, because we want to remind people that communication is about the person who's receiving the message. It's not about me as the transmitter. So we need to learn to understand what is your style and what details do you need to hear, or lack of detail. How can I communicate things to you so that you hear it in the best way possible and fully understand what it is that I'm trying to get across? Building that understanding is key to helping people communicate better. How are you keeping people safe? There are obviously all the statutory things that you need to put in place to keep people safe from the transmission of the disease, physical safety. But what about their mental, emotional, their psychological safety? Now, it might be that you need to think back to pre-lockdown, and did people feel safe coming into the work environment at all? Were they able to be themselves, to share fully, to feel comfortable in where they were at? We need to be able to listen to people though, to listen properly to what they're saying so that we can hear it, not just to be able to judge it and then accept or dismiss, but listen to what their contribution actually is and value them. Value them as individuals, but value their contribution, because we want their contributions to keep coming. Even if some of them sometimes aren't brilliant, we want the contributions to keep flowing so that we continue to have those and people feel I can say whatever I need to say without being judged or ridiculed for it. And I think the other thing is, how do we accept their mistakes? People will make mistakes because things are new and they don't know quite how to do things now. Everything's changed. So when they make a mistake, do we pillory them for it, or do we help them to put the pieces back together again, to learn from the mistake and clear up the mess? If we can accept the mistakes without letting our standards slide, but accept that mistakes get made because they always do, no one is perfect, then people will feel more comfortable to keep pushing and keep trying things and experimenting and getting beyond and getting better. We need to listen to people's contributions and value them as individuals. How are you strategically recognising people's strengths? With the changes in business and the way we're doing things, the strategy for your organisation may have changed, or at least been tweaked a bit, and your plans for the years and months ahead might look a bit different. And we need to know whether we have the strengths and skills to now fulfil that plan. I think first of all we need to recognise what skills and strengths do we need going forwards. And then we start to look at, well, do we have those within our team and our organisation? And maybe there's a call for doing a skills audit of some sort to see, are those skills already present? Or do we need to develop them in someone, or bring someone in whom they're already developed? But if they are present, do the people recognise themselves that they have those strengths and that they are useful to the team and that they need to bring them to the fore? And maybe just encouraging people to use more of the potential that they have is something that particularly we need to do right now. Helping people to see who they are and how they can bring more of themselves to the business is all part of our jobs as managers, but particularly helping them to develop and grow new skills or augment what they have will help them to be better at what they do, to be more motivated about it, and actually to bring more to the team and make everyone more profitable. Ultimately, using people's potential to the full benefits them as individuals and the team as a whole. If you want to know more, then go on my website and have a look at www.squarepegscoaching.com/afterlockdown, or get in touch with me and we can have a chat about how you can make this work in practice.